But parents and guardians need to become role models to their children, not only to motivate them towards success, but also to ensure that the youth stay away from drugs. This was the opinion of speakers at a recent event in Abuja to mark the 2025 International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Although there is a rise in the number of youths who are into drugs, speakers believe the situation can be remedied if government ensures that the drugs do not find their way into the country through porous borders. Well, the event organized by We the Youths aims at prevention, treatment, and recovery for anyone that is hooked on drugs.
Government is really worried. If you look at the recent restructuring of the NDLEA under the leadership of Brigadier General Buba Marwa, you will know that government is really investing in the fight against drug abuse in terms of reorganizing and restructuring the organization, and they're doing quite well out there now. Statistics from the streets show that access to drugs for the youth is declining, and the cost of drugs has skyrocketed to a point that even if you do want to take it, you may not be able to afford it.
Maybe the starting point would be showing these youth more role models to look up to, because if you have a society where, for example, let's say particularly rural communities, right, where the big boys are the people that are into drugs and they do all these things that are termed as cool. They're perhaps I don't know if you'd be familiar with the term Ndaba, but then essentially you have people that look up to Ndaba as people that they want to grow up and be like. So perhaps if you have more iconic role models that you can show these youth, for example, people that are doing business.
The schools can add to the curriculum content that would actually educate young people, starting from even primary to even secondary, letting them know the actual reasons why they should not go into XYZ, So if we can have curriculum, a 360 holistic curriculum from the schools that teaches young people, letting them know that these vices can actually alter their lives and change the course of their lives forever. So if we have from schools, school having to do their own part, then we also have the mosque having to educate young people and also educate its members. Then also the church playing its role.
A parent is the first teacher of anybody. So anybody who is privileged to have his parents around as he's growing, it's the responsibility of the parent to put him through and advise, or the guardian, or anybody who the person is under its roof, because that's when it starts. As long as and not everybody is privileged to know how to advise put a child through. However, when the child starts, that's when the parents need to ask a counselor, need to go and ask somebody, take the child to a medic, so that they'll know the things to do. Like, for example, some of these things, people jump into it without knowing the consequences. Some people join to drugs thinking they might just touch it and leave it and go, unknowing that there's what is called addiction. Addiction, you cannot control it.
All right, glad to have you back. Now let's discuss the disturbing issue of drugs in Nigeria. We have in the studio Shadrach Haruna. He's the secretary, NDLEA. Glad to have you join us on Newsnight, Shadrach.
Thank you very much.
Well,
happy to be here.
Fine. Just to get a good picture, first off, how serious is this menace really?
Well, I think the prevalence of drug use is very serious. In fact, it underlines most of the criminalities that you see all around. Bandits, terrorists, they all use drugs to have Dutch courage to do what they're doing. In fact, kidnappers use drugs. So if you see crime, then you see drugs as the underlying factor. Most of them, nobody can actually come out to behead or to kill without taking some substance to make him feel superhuman or somebody who is not even a human being. So most crimes you see that we talk about today is underlying by drug use. And I think the prevalence is huge, and it's something that you should all be concerned about.
Good. All right. Tell us, what is the attraction? I mean, why are youths suddenly finding solace in drug abuse?
Well, I think there's so many pull and push factors. The the push factors mostly is a wannabe culture. People want to be wannabe culture, or the peer pressure, as well as lack of opportunities and so many other things. And of course, the pull factors could also be because of economic gains. Some people who want to make quick money, they want to make money. Our youth are really in a hurry to make money, and they want to do something that can bring that quick money to them. And because the demand is high, you see the tendency that, yes, when the demand is high, then of course the supply flows and then the money. So I think that is what is really happening. And you see so many of these drug barons or drug traffickers actually go on the streets to recruit boys. They give them drugs free of charge to experiment. And the moment you are hooked or you are addicted to it, you can go back. And that's exactly what we had a while ago. Addiction is something that is difficult for anyone. If you see somebody who is addicted, it's no longer himself. He's just being pulled to come and take drugs. Without drugs, he can't function anymore. And that is the biggest challenge you have.
We know of a phrase, prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
What role should parents, society, the school, and then the law be playing to curb these tendencies?
Indeed, prevention is, in fact, this year's theme, the International Drug Day theme, is evidence is clear, invest in prevention, which means you have to do more to prevent it from happening. And prevention, we have seen that parents, that is the nucleus, that is the beginning of a social interaction. They have to play a very significant role. The values you inculcate in your child, the way your child is brought up, and what you teach your child, and what you do also pattern the child's life. So parents is the first, or family is the first civilization where children have to emulate and have to take the values from. Then of course the society. There's a breakdown of social cohesion now, which is, of course is fueling a lot of drug use. And of course school. And government is also doing. For instance, we have a campaign called Save Our Families campaign, which was launched last year. And the Save Our Family campaigns is starting from a family as a unit where every family is enjoying to have a drug kit test in the house. When you see a behavior coming in,
I was going to come to that.
Yes. You try to see, oh, maybe somebody is trying to do something. At that stage, you can still arrest it, rather than to allow it to go into a point where the child becomes dependent on drugs. Then in schools, we have WADA. WADA is War Against Drug Abuse. So we have all the NDLA commands and some other agency working with NDLA, including National Orientation Agency, traditional rulers, faith-based organization, carrying this message across the schools and all the organizations around to see that prevent drug first. So that campaign and sensitization is the preventive measures which we put in place to ensure that drug is, children run away from drugs. And even an adult who has not tried it, you should stop it. And those who are in need, they are also being advised to seek early assistance to come out of it.
All right, I want to pursue this parent side a little bit more. We're about 200 plus million in Nigeria.
That's
so
right.
I don't know how you're going to get across every household to give them what you talked about, testing.
Yes.
So I want to pursue it further. What are the telltale signs? You know how children are,
Yeah.
and the peer pressure, that a parent can latch on to easily to begin to sense that this child might have gone amiss in terms of drugs.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the campaign is not a compulsory thing. Neither is it something that the government should go from house to house. It's a voluntary measure.
Okay.
If you want to protect your family, you need to have the kids at home. And the telltale signs, yes, is a very good information that will inform the family whether the child is beginning to experiment or is coming to use drugs. If a child in a family is always staying alone in his room or in her room, and he stays there sleeping all the time, you know that there's something that is happening. If he doesn't come down to eat food with the family or come to the family lounge to watch television together with the family, and is always isolated, trying to do his or her own things, then it's a telltale sign. Or you have a child who goes out and stays so late with friends, and he comes in looking a bit rough, looking so unhappy with the family members and all those things. It's a telltale sign. At that point, the child is not yet violent. He has not developed that culture of dependency, addiction. You can still get such a child to test. Do the test. And if you know he's positive to any of these drugs, any of these addictive drugs, then that is the point where you have to seek assistance. You have to seek help.
I mean, aside, of course, the fact that parents have to sit down with their children and drum it into their ears that, look, this is not the way to go.
That's right.
All right.
You need to take that precaution.
Yeah, where is the place of psychology in dealing with this issue? Because it might just be dealt with not just by law and punishment.
Yeah. Really, the mandate of NDLA is not just punishment. It's not just punishment. It's also the caregiving aspect is very, very crucial. And that is the point where we have psychologists, we have social workers, and we have caregivers who support such an individual that is dependent on drugs. Psychologists are very important. Psychosocial caregivers are also very important. And we have them. We do have quite a number of such professionals within the government agency, NDLA. We have also a 24/7 telephone helpline where if somebody is not prepared to go to any of these rehab centers for fear of stigmatization, you can actually call from the comfort of your room or your house at any time to say that you seek the help of psychologists and social workers who are there. We have professionals.
You want to mention the number? You want to call the number?
Yeah, the number, yes. The number is 0800 10 20 30 40.
Again.
0800 10 20 30 40.
I think anyone
it's
should be
a
able
very important number to memorize anywhere.
Yeah.
Call from your home. Call. You can call anytime, and people will just. I mean, we have professionals who are there 24/7 supporting anyone who needs to be saved from drug addiction.
Interesting discussion,
Yes.
Shadrach. What are the commonest drugs you find? Because one of the respondents there was talking about declining.
Yes.
You know, I don't know how true that is, but he talked about one of the reasons is cost, and I don't know the other reason, but is it really declining, the access to drugs? And what are the commonest drugs out there on the street? And then the question of porous borders,
Yes,
I don't know.
yeah, that's true. Well, if you talk of declining, Kuchi mentioned, I think he's to a very large extent he's right, because we've mopped so many off the street. However, the commonest one, which you see on a daily basis, is cannabis. Cannabis can grow anywhere. Cannabis is everywhere. There's nowhere you go, any place, even in the room here, you can grow cannabis. And that is the cheapest of all the drugs, and it's the most dangerous. We look at cannabis as something...
It's the cheapest and the most dangerous.
And the most dangerous, because it destroys the reward system of an individual. And when somebody is addicted to cannabis, and cannabis has gone so much into the system to destroy the reward system, that person will be difficult to bring back to.
What do you mean by destroying the reward system?
Okay, you know, every human being has a reward system. For instance, you go to work every day feeling that, oh, you want to make an impact. You have something you are looking forward to. Tomorrow, okay, I want to be a graduate. I want to do my first degree, then a master's degree, and then PhD, for instance. But a child whose reward system is destroyed will not even aspire to anything anymore.
Kills your aspirations.
Kills aspirations
basically.
Completely.
Makes
and
you
a
inferior.
child will feel that, look, there's nothing for me anymore.
That's dangerous.
That's the reward system. And that is cannabis.
That's what it does.
That's what it does. And it could be in the system for so long, and the addiction is so bad that you can get it anywhere. It's not like cocaine that you need so much money to buy, or heroin.
We don't
But
have
all those ones are also on the street anyway.
We don't have all the time again. We can't go into asking you where and what NDLA is doing to stop people from getting it anywhere. That's just the time we can take, you know.
Thank you.
So we leave it there. Shedrack Haruna, the Secretary, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, the acronym. Thank you for being on the program.